What's going on, everyone? This is Mekkah, and I welcome you back to Firecrest Blue Houses. We are going to be doing another route of 3 houses, because everyone loves this game, including me, so why not? And the reason we're doing Blue Lines is because it's the very most logical route to take next. Even if a couple of other people are covering it, or have covered it already, it's still the best route for me to take. Because I just played Golden Deer, so that one is out. I just co-hosted the Crimson Flower route, the Edelgard route, with Manx, so that one is pretty much out. That leaves the church routes and at least the Blue Lions. The thing with the church route is, from what I hear, it's very similar to Golden Deer, to the point where I would probably just be playing the same game again. So no real point to that. So instead I decided, let's go with the Blue Lions. I'm really curious about Dimitri and what's going on with his character. I haven't seen much of him at all in the other 2 routes that I've seen. So I just want to see what's behind his things. Now here's the other twist to it. We're not just playing Blue Lions. We're going to be playing from pretty far into the Blue Lions, because from what I know, and for what I've seen, because I've done it, part 1 is very similar no matter what route you take. So I could start from the beginning and like wake up Sophis and beat some brigands, but honestly you guys have seen that already if you've seen my Golden Deer Let's Play, or you've seen it because you've played the game. So instead, what I want to do is I want to start roughly in the middle, in chapter 9, and I'm going to talk about more exactly why when I'm actually at the monastery. But first let me load this, and let Gerald's voice, smooth voice, do the talking for a little bit.
Part 1. White Clouds. Guardian Moon. Where the goddess dwells.
I cannot get enough of this voice.
Long ago, the guardian Saros made an appearance during this moon. She had been summoned by the goddess, whose soul was suffering as the flames of war raged across Fodlan. Some believe that high in the sky above Saros, the Immaculate One's mighty wings are what powered the strong winds carrying the Guardian and her forces into battle.
Alright, I'm gonna stop the auto advance for just a little bit to explain where we are exactly. So, chapter 9 is the chapter after the cutscene with Monica and Gerald. So this is the sad monastery, not to speak. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you might just be about to get spoiled, but I'm assuming at this point everyone watching this has seen at least the story of part 1 so far. Hold on, okay, it's still here. Get some money. It's my birthday, yay! Letter from Dimitri, thanks bro. And here's the main game's event. The main story, so to speak.
What are you doing at this hour?
And this is why I paused it.
Oh, I know. You are eavesdropping. I must admit that I approve.
Okay, so I haven't seen this yet. So the reason I'm starting from here is because everything before this is so similar, but this is when I started noticing significant differences. Now, I will say at this point I have seen a couple of things about Dimitri that I could have liked to react to on camera, but unfortunately it was all intertwined within things that are 90% the same, so I didn't really think it was worth it. Instead I wanted to see this, because this is new, and I haven't seen this yet, because it's new, but I haven't seen it yet, you know. But I'm really intrigued by Dimitri's character, and I really want to know what the twist was. So here's what I know about Dimitri so far. I know that he is like a sibling to Edelgard, or was for like a year or so. Edelgard called him L, which apparently I think this also means that they've been ex-lovers at some point, but at the very least they were very close. It wasn't entirely clear to me whether they were lovers or just very good childhood friends. I've heard rumors that they were lovers before. Don't spoil me this, but that's my impression so far. And I might misinterpret things at some points. I might miss things at some points. So excuse me if I do, because this is just my perspective on the game. And sometimes I miss things, that's just how it is. And I also know that he has a dark past, and before this was just a thing that the game told me. It's like, hey, Dimitri has a dark past, I didn't really know anything about it. It's much more clear to me now, so from what I know, the people of Duskur supposedly killed his father, as well as like his entire family. And that fucked him up pretty bad, basically. And I even saw some really cruel images of like people burning to death and shit, or well, basically young Dimitri seeing his family getting burned to death. It was pretty horrible. I've seen a lot of his interactions with Dedue. I've seen Dedue's interactions with a lot of other people, so I have pretty much a lot of background on the whole tragedy of Duskur and everything. And it has really impressed me. I really like it. So I'm looking forward to hearing more from him. I've barely seen anything of him in the Edelgard route and in the Claude route. In the Claude route, the Golden Deer route, he just appeared, he was completely off the hook, completely insane, and he just died within one chapter. Golden Deer, Dimitri wasn't really like... I saw what happened when I wasn't there for him, basically, and that's pretty much all there is to it. I didn't really see why he was so insane. Edelgard routes, pretty much, he wasn't as insane, but he was still, like, pretty far gone. He didn't have an eye patch or anything, but he was still pretty bad. But, I don't know, I still want to understand more of this character, which is one of the reasons I'm so excited I'm doing Blue Lions. Anyway, Sotis, you were saying.
Professor, we must remain quiet.
I see. The Flame Emperor and Monica. And the mage who rescued Monica.
Wait, you're watching them? It's time for revenge. What's the guy's name? Okay.
Not yet, Professor.
An unexpected chance to hear their plans. Patience, patience.
Oh, I know what this is, I think.
Oh, thank you. You saved me.
If you were to die, then the mystery of our bodies would be revealed. Preventing that was my only aim.
Alright, I remember this scene from the Golden Deer, I think. I didn't remember it being at the monastery, which is kind of strange considering the Flame Emperor is right here. I think it might be like outside of the monastery, a little bit outside of it. That would make the most sense to me.
I'm afraid you must remain, Kronya. There is something I need you to do.
Oh, of course. I am always happy to cooperate with Solon. Leave it to me.
How annoying.
Flame Emperor, is she offending you? Unfortunately, we cannot take our eyes off her, so there is nothing to be done. You are our greatest creation. We use the defiled beast's blood as the fuel to your flame, that you may burn even the gods.
Okay, so I remember this scene, but I don't think anyone was around for it when I was playing Golden Deer, or even when Edelgard was there. I think, well, you know what I just said, but like I don't remember anyone watching this scene from like the good side.
Now is the time to cleanse Fodlan with that power and bring forth our salvation.
There will be no salvation for you and your kind. Those responsible for such gruesome deeds in Dusker and Enmar.
All so that you may acquire the strength you need, all for a purpose.
I've got you. Finally.
Wait, don't go there. Let's keep listening. Oh, okay. So knowing who this guy is, that's pretty... Oh, I think I understand now why this fucked Dimitri up so badly. Wow, okay. Anyway, let's keep listening. What does this really matter?
Don't act now. We'll miss our chance.
We'll miss our chance anyway. This guy can teleport. Send somebody. The fuck?
Even if someone has overheard us, there is nothing they can do. There have always been rats in the walls, and there always will be.
This is different. Okay. Huh?
No.
Oh, fuck.
The dagger.
Wait. Did Dimitri just... Okay, so Dimitri has mentioned that he gave Edelgard a dagger when they were kids. As like a... I think it was his goodbye present at the end of the year. Or like a birthday present. Either way, a very important present. Did he just find the same dagger? What about the dagger?
No, never mind. It couldn't possibly be so. Professor, those are the ones we must destroy. They're the bastards who killed my family, and Geralt. For now, let's return to the monastery and regroup. As for the Flame Emperor's dagger, I'll hold on to it for the time being.
Jesus, so Dimitri knows now. I did not expect that. That's lovely. So if you play Blue Lions as your first route, Dimitri knows who it is before you do. That's cool. You can get some flowers for now, because I'm busy. Sorry, Ingrid. Alright, so this is the sad monastery. So, yeah, shit. throwing us right away into the mysteries, or rather, the dissolve mysteries. So what I'm gonna spend some time doing now is I'm gonna go over my squad. So what we got here is Byleth. I did something weird with him. I actually made him into a mage, or like rather monk, mage, and now bishop. So he is a magical Byleth, and he has a Forge 11 sword, but he also has like a mastery of several spells. Like I think we can see it here. Excuse me while I get used to the controls again. I put this game down for a couple of days to take a bit of a break from it, which is why I'm a little bit rusty. But there you go. Yeah, this is all the spells he can get. This is what he's been trained in. So we unlocked his hidden talent for Faith. And we trained him in swords a little bit, so we can promote into a Mortal Savant if you want to. We probably don't, but I just thought I'd open up the option. And a little bit of brawling training for fun, because I am doing New Game Plus, which is why I have so many professor level and everything. But yeah, I just wanted to try a magical blast. It's actually been fairly good. Not amazing, obviously not as great as like a physical one would be. But as you can see, his magic is pretty decent. And I don't think I can list his skills here. Well, I can actually. Abilities. So he has these skills. Most important ones probably being Fiendish Blow. And then to a certain extent like Magic +2, Reason level 3, and Faith level 4. A bunch of other things he won't use in his convoy basically. But yeah, that's Byleth for you. Here we got Dimitri. Very interesting character. Very interesting unit as well. So you don't notice it now, but my Dimitri as a level 13 or 14 Cavalier or so had 7 speed. 7. He was really speed screwed. And it was super annoying to throw with. I could still like kill things with like Tempest Lance and like a Force Steel Lance, one to KO things. That was okay, but he couldn't double anything. And it was very bad on enemy phase for that reason. Since then, I have been training his axe rank to the point where he can promote into a Wyvern Rider. And now his speed is just all fine. I also gave him a bunch of speed stat boosters to help him a little bit as well. So he's all fixed now. I firmly believe that every character is at their best at a Wyvern Rider. So I need a couple on my squad. I don't have as many as I do in my Golden Deer playthrough, where I had like 5 of them. Currently, I just have Dimitri and I think one other. I think I'm going to have 3 in the end, which is still like a good amount. I can't just play without Wyverns. They're too good, man. But it's not going to be the Thracian army over again. He has Battalion Wrath for a bit of fun. I'm just trying it out. He doesn't have that many other good abilities I can give him. Let me see if I can find it. Whatever. I don't think there's anything else I need to show about him. Alright, I guess I could show his weapon ranks. So B axis, B axis, and then C plus flying. Riding he's been working on when he was a Cavalier, but other than that he hasn't really done any significant riding. And as for abilities, he has these things. So I gave him defense +2 to be a bit of a tank, but I should give him death blow because he has access to it and it's too good not to give him to. I don't know why he doesn't have it. I think I only unlocked it like recently, and then just promoted to Wyvern Rider just now. So Battalion Wrath is not that great. I can just get rid of it now. I'm gonna keep everything else as it is. It's probably not optimal, but this is not aimed to be an optimal playthrough. Like, if you're worried about me doing things optimally, so like, don't worry. It's hard mode. I'll be fine. Until Lunatic comes out, I don't think you really need to optimize your things. And even then, I suspect that we'll be able to do meme builds at that point. So there's Dimitri. Next meme. Let me see. I can do it right. I can do it right. Okay. So here's the Dedue. I expect this is not a unit you'd expect me to like if you've been watching my content for a while, because, you know, he's slow, defensive, and good as an armor knight. Actually, I have a lot of fun using the Dedue. I think he's really fun to use. You could just throw him in the middle of battle and he just doesn't take damage at all, which is just really fun. And I've just been using him as a brawler, and later as like an armored knight, a fortress knight, whatever you want to call it. I keep mixing up these buttons. I don't know why. So I trained him mostly in axes and brawling. I think if I'm going to promote him to a master class, it will be the War Master. He does actually have Death Blow to his at his disposal. He also has Armor Blow, but I don't think I'm going to use that. That skill seems very bad to me. Like, when you're attacking, you don't really care that much about defense, especially when you're you know, a Fortress Knight with already 1 million defense, and you have Death Blow to 2-hit KO anything you want with your brawling powers. Dimitri, like, or the Dedue is just so powerful. It's so insanely good, so strong. And, you know, he doesn't move very far, but you can make him if you want to. I can still, like, train his riding or his flying if I really want to, but I can't be bothered. I'm just gonna keep him the way he is. He's beautiful the way he is. And he's also one of my favorite, like, characters. Like, Dedue is someone you don't really get to know anything about, kind of like Dimitri, which is why I keep accidentally saying Dimitri. Because he's just so quiet, he doesn't ever tell you anything. But after seeing a bunch of his supports, I gotta say, I have a new appreciation for this character, and I didn't appreciate this character enough at all before, because I didn't know anything about him. Like, you can feel the tragedy just seeping out of him with every conversation. He is so held back, and obviously so burdened by everything. Kind of like Dimitri in a way. They match up very well. They have similar problems, they have a similar, like, they share a backstory to some extent, which is great. But they have their own little ways of dealing with it. And the amount of mutual respect between these two is just really great to see. And I just love the way that every other character just kind of tries to get, especially the Dedue, to open up a bit. And teach a bit about his culture, and like people like Mercedes and Annette and Ashe, they're so curious about, for example, his cooking skills and stuff. And you can tell he's very reluctant in his interactions with these characters. But he still opens up to them a little bit already in the sea supports and stuff, and it's actually kind of moving to see. I love Dedue quite a bit. One of my favorite characters for sure. Next is Felix. This is a guy I recruited in my Golden Deer run, and he's back at it again. Last time I made him a wyvern just to see if I could, and now he's a brigand, but he's really just a war master in the making, really. I decided Felix's personal skill +5 attack when he's not holding a battalion was put to use pretty well if you use brawling. He also has a talent for brawling, so I figured it would be fun to teach him, you know, just punch people in the face basically, and it's really good. I know people have been saying like you should use a battalion on him anyway, and sometimes I think that is actually the right move. Sometimes I think he gets more out of a battalion than +5 strength. Sometimes he just kills things anyway, and it doesn't matter if you have a lot of strength. He also has the crest to fall back on a little bit. He can crit too sometimes, but mostly crest activations are very common for him. But you know, sometimes I just find myself not using a battalion and still not caring. He also recently got Deathblow. Let me double check that before I talk out of my butt again. No, he's still working on Deathblow. Okay, so Felix is kind of behind on working on class skills because he's been a lot of different classes, or well, what's the problem again? I think it was one of the last people I promoted because of my limited amount of seals. So that's why he doesn't have Deathblow yet. But once he does, I'm pretty sure the battalion will be very overkill. Or the Lone Wolf skill will be very overkill. So I don't think I'll be using that skill very much, but we'll see. Felix himself, though, is an absolute god in combat. I don't think I'm surprising anyone by saying that. As for his character, I already knew quite a bit about him from his supports, so I was already very happy to know that Felix is not just an edgy swordmaster kind of guy who just wants to spar. Like, sure, that's part of his character, but there's a lot more, I hate to say it, but beneath the surface. You know, I did not catch into the fact that he actually really seems to dislike Dimitri and Dedue. Like, Jesus Christ, he actually, I don't know if he really hates them or it's just there's something else going on, but he's very dismissive of them. And he constantly calls out Dimitri out for his, what's it called? His enjoyment of killing things or something. It's very strange to see. He revealed that like right away in the sea support, and I was like, damn, okay, Felix, calm down. All right, I got you. Okay, but yeah, that's Felix in a nutshell. Combat god, gonna be a war master. Next one is Ashe, my second wyvern rider. So a lot of people say or told me that Ashe has a lot of strength problems. I didn't experience this because I put him through the brigand class and then a wyvern rider, of course. He also has Deathblow, and that strength just turned out really well for him. So Ashe is one of my better characters actually. I have trained him in bows a little bit, but for the most part, he's just your average wyvern rider with a lot of power behind his axes. Very fast too. Turned out very well. Ashe, you know, he's a very chill kind of guy. I did recruit him in my Golden Deer, I think, but I didn't really use him. But I did see a couple of supports already, but I'm not too surprised with what I've seen so far. Admires knights, and just a very friendly guy. Just wants to work hard. I don't know if that's like really the strategy. He's not like Cyril, who's always about working hard or something. But, you know, he clearly just wants to help out and do his best and stuff. And he has a very... Sometimes he can be a little bit naive, but overall I just get positive vibes from this guy. Very unique design as well that I really like. This is what I trained him in. He had a healing talent for lances that I unlocked. Or a budding talent, I should probably call it. And then he's also just good at axes and bows, of course. I trained those as well. Got close counter. And I trained him in flying, and that was really all I needed to do to make him a good wyvern rider. Sometimes people just are talented at that. And, you know, he's like a mini Claude in a way. So yeah, good character, good unit. Needed a little bit of training, of course, but I got it done already. Next person is Sylvain. I didn't use Sylvain. I benched him, basically. Sometimes I deploy him and give him stride so he can help out other characters, but yeah, I benched Sylvain. And the reason And I know this like sucks for people who really like Sylvain, but I wanted to try out using less characters. I wanted to try out not training everyone that I got at the beginning, because the reason is when I was playing Golden Deer, I noticed that I could not fit my whole team into the limited deployment slots that I got, especially in Paralogs, but even later on, I always had to make some people adjutants that I just really wished I could use full-time. And that sucks. I was like, I want more deployment slots. Like, I wanted to use Shamir, and I wanted to use pretty much everyone, but I couldn't. So I decided, you know, I'm gonna have to ditch someone. I might as well ditch someone I'm not too interested in, and I'll just pick Sylvain kind of randomly. Even though he is interesting, I actually really misjudged Sylvain, which is funny because that's the same thing that other characters in the game do. I thought Sylvain would just be another Saul, another Saint, just a womanizer and nothing beyond that, and be super boring. And then I found out the guy is actually super gifted, like super talented at stuff. Like Annette is like studying in a book in his support, and Sylvain's like, you got it wrong, you need to do it this way. And she's like, oh, okay, all right. How'd you figure that out so quickly? So he's not just a womanizer, but he also is like one of those school slackers that could like really excel if he just tried his best, but he just prefers spending his time differently instead. And in that way, there's like a lot more things that, you know, Sylvain doesn't really show at surface level that I really like. But most of his like 2 cents conversations are about womanizing, so that still makes him look pretty shallow. But I'm glad that he's more deep than that. So yeah, that's Sylvain. Not training him, but interesting character nonetheless, and I have some supports unlocked with him. Next is Mercedes, and she's a very helpful healer from what I can tell. Live to Serve hasn't done a whole lot for me, to be honest, because I don't expose her too much, but the times where it has helped, it really did help me. I've just been training her in both Reason Magic and Faith Magic. As you can see, they're both at A already, so she's pretty far in. I should actually probably promote her to something, but I think I'm working on getting Fiendish Blow. But yeah, not a whole lot to say about Mercedes as a unit otherwise. Like, she's pretty strong. She doesn't double a whole lot because 40 speed isn't that great at this point in the game, but other than that, it's fine. This Dark Dragon sign is a new game plus thing. Apparently it gives you the crest of Timotheos, or whatever you pronounce that. I've never seen it activate yet, or if I have, I must have missed it. I just decided to try a couple of these out, but I'm not a big fan of the new game plus bonuses. As I said, I'm mostly doing it so I have my first level up and I don't have to spend time like fishing and stuff. Because, bro, that shit is boring. So I just use the extra professor points sometimes. I don't even use them up all the time. But it's just to make the playthrough a little bit more flexible. And so I don't have to spend time grinding things. Because my time at this point is going to be a bit more precious than it was over the summer break. But yeah, as for her as a character, the first thing I noticed about her is that her voice kind of annoys me, which is a shame. Because the voice acting is really good, but her voice just hits the wrong pitch for me. That's the first thing I'll say about her. Otherwise, she's pretty much as I expected. Devout believer and really helpful about everything. Kind of clumsy though. She has like this little clique with Annette. They constantly talk to each other. They remind me of like a clique of high school girls, which I think is the point. But they got into a huge fight, or like a bit of a, you know, cuffle or something. I don't know what to call it. A bit of a bitch fight, I guess you would call it if you want to be crude. In their B support, and from what I know, their A support is not unlocked until after the time skip. So they're gonna stay mad at each other for like 5 years, which is all good for me. Because I thought the two were actually kind of annoying together, but that's just me probably. So yeah, that's Mercedes. She's probably going to become a Grimoire, because that seems like a natural fit to her. Next is Annette. I also didn't really train Annette. She just happened to gain a lot of levels naturally, because whenever I could, I did tutor her in like Faith Magic, and she would rally people or be like an adjutant. Then I turned her into a mad dancer, so she's still going to gain some XP every once in a while. Because I could either turn her or Sylvain into my dancer. I decided with Annette, because Annette also has some rally skills that I could put to use. The rally skill is pretty interesting for early game, actually. I kind of liked having that around. But again, Annette, one of those characters that I wanted to ditch so that I could use other characters, or put more XP into my main squad, basically. I wanted to try out using less characters, and Annette being one of the people I ditched. It was only natural for her to turn her into a dancer. Now, I will say I really like the option of how this game gives you a dancer, where you just pick one student and they gain the ability to use that class, because then you could just redeem one of your units for free and just have a dancer for, instead of having to make room for a new person, you just turn one of your existing characters into a dancer. You do some funny memes too, like Dancer Raphael was pretty funny. I just decided to go with that. She seems very enthusiastic about it, so I was happy with her as a magic dancer kind of person. Otherwise, I haven't really used her much. She stayed as a noble for a pretty long time. But yeah, as a character, I don't want to say she's the exact same as Mercedes, but I mostly see her interact with Mercedes. That's where my perception comes from. Outside of with Mercedes, I think I'm supposed to say Mercedes or something, but I just can't help saying Mercedes. I'm sorry. But yeah, Annette, I like that she's really trying hard to study really well. She like studied at another magic academy or something just to get into this one and stuff. So that shows that she's very ambitious, very gifted, but not to the point where she doesn't need to study like apparently Sylvain doesn't. That's a big difference between them. Blue Lions in general is the house I knew the least about, of course, because I've seen or done playthroughs of both Golden Deer and Black Eagles. So people like Annette were kind of mysteries to me before, and I've seen a little bit more of her now, but not as much as I thought I would see, if that makes any sense. But I don't like or dislike Annette, but right now she hasn't grown on me the way that someone like Dimitri or Dedue has. And then we got Ingrid, of course. I also recruited Ingrid on my Golden Deer run. Didn't really use her, but she stayed on the sidelines a lot. Sometimes had her as an adjutant, so I've seen a lot of her supports. And of course, Mangs recruited her as well. And I saw a lot of her supports there. So not a whole lot of new things. I do like the whole dynamic that I didn't mention yet between Dimitri and Sylvain and Ingrid and Felix, where they're like all known each other since childhood. So they don't really have to introduce each other to each other, if that makes sense. They have a known history together, so they talk differently than two people who just met at the academy would. And Ingrid's supports, for example, take full advantage of that. Yeah, I gotta say, I still can't really get into Ingrid's voice acting, but I do appreciate that she's yet another character that's being married off just for crests. That's like a big theme in this game. And she fulfills her role really well as like a person that has the dreams to become a knight, but also just really feels guilty about it because he's supposed to be married to someone to restore the influence of her house. As for her build, whoops. Excuse me while I press the wrong button on my controller. As for her as a unit, Pegasus Knight is pretty good. I'm gonna turn her into Wyvern. Like, what else do you need to know? I've been training her axe rank pretty diligently. Digitally. I've been training her axe rank digitally, and once it gets to like B rank or so, I'll be able to promote her to Wyvern. I think she already has a chance of success right now. As you can see, I've been focusing heavily mostly on flying and lances. Now, instead, I might have been overkill, but I'm curious if I can reach like S+ using my New Game Plus skills. So I kind of want to see if I can make her immune to arrows that way. I think that is all my units. I don't plan on... Oh, never mind. Not all my units. Excuse me. I do not plan on recruiting anyone from other houses, because I really want this to be a Blue Lion run with a couple of spicy units thrown in here and there. But the thing is, I've seen all the Black Eagles by now, and I have seen all the Golden Deer by now. I really want this run to be about the Blue Lions themselves. And just recruiting someone like, I don't know, Petra over here again just wouldn't really add anything new for me. So that is what I've decided to do. There is one character that I really wanted to try out, and that is Flayn, though. I find Flayn an absolutely hilarious character. She does not appeal to me just because she's cute. I mean, I think she's adorable, of course, but what appeals to me is kind of like the almost British-like way she talks, and like the super polite way she talks. I don't know why, but I just find it super funny. And she's also sometimes a little bit sassy, but most of the time just... I don't know why being polite is such a positive trait for me, but it really gets to me, you know? I also enjoy that she can use Rescue and then Fortify. I think she's already unlocked Fortify. Looks like she has Rescue. I could swear she had Fortify, but maybe I'm wrong. She does have Restore, which I don't think is the same thing. Yeah, it's just status effects, but hey, it's cool. So yeah, I've mostly just been focusing on the magics, just like with Mercedes. Mostly Faith Magic, but I did unlock her hit button talent for Reason Magic. Very funny units. I also just enjoy the sound she makes when she's using Rescue on someone. Like, yeah! Or like, yeah! I can't do it. You guys will hear it later on. But yeah, I find Flayn hilarious, and Flayn is one of the reasons I ditched Annette and Sylvain, so I can make some space for Flayn. Because she's a unit that joins late compared to your other students. So once you get her, you kind of have to make space for her in order to use her. And that can be hard if you're already attached to some other units. And I decided I like Flayn a lot more than Sylvain, even though their names rhyme. So that's why I've decided to use Flayn. And Rescue has actually been really useful, and it makes raising her a lot easier because you can always spam it whenever you want. Combat-wise, she's not that great. 13 speed is actually kind of low. Durability is not that great. But hey, we'll make it work, right? Ah, damn. Can I get used to these controls already? I don't know why this is so hard sometimes. What's Flayn's personal skill again? I gotta check it real quick. Lily's Poise. Adjacent allies take 3 less damage during combat. Haven't really made use of this yet. But hey, it seems interesting sometimes. These kind of skills are more useful in the early game than later on. So yeah, this turned out already to be an episode filler, but now you know my thoughts on the Blue Lions so far, what squad I'm going to be using, and what I'm going to be doing for this playthrough. So hopefully that will keep you guys plenty informed. I don't know if I can be keep doing double uploads or not, because I'm going to be a little busier. School starting and everything, work starting and everything. So we'll see how that works out. But hopefully you guys will check in next time. And I'll probably just be going straight into the mission next time, because Monastery on screen is kind of boring. At the same time, I want to talk to the characters, talk to my own students. I think they say different things when you talk to them in a monastery if you're Blue Lions compared to, say, if you're Black Eagles or Golden Deer. So how about you guys let me know what you want, and then I'll consider it. But obviously, the final decision is my own to make. Haha. Alright. So, I'll see you guys next time. Peace and goodbye.